Hello again. I'm back for the 8th year, holy balls, 8th year of my end of year roundup thing that I usually do just to kind of summarize what I've learned from this year, thoughts and insights that I felt like I wanted to share with you, because maybe some of you might be able to resonate and relate, and hopefully it can help you in some way. Or we can just have this like relatability, knowing that, hey, you went through the same thing that I went through this year and you did as well. Oh my God, we're so similar. This is going to be a bit of a different video than how I've done my previous end of year roundup videos, because I'm not scripting it at all. I'm just going to riff and whatever comes out of my brain that I feel like in the moment I want to share, I'm going to do that. So it's either going to be terrible and you're going to click off really quickly, or it's going to be a good rant that my brain gets in some kind of flow and just spits out some class knowledge and insights for you guys. But we'll see. I might regret it by the end of the video, but it's happening now and you're watching this video, so I'm decided on it. So big things that happened this year: I reached over 50 YouTube videos being made. It's officially been over 2 years since I started making content on this channel, which feels, at the same time, it feels like a long time, and it feels like not a long time at all. Like, I remember very early on doing my early videos, and when I look at my creator studio, I'm like, whoa, that didn't seem that long ago, but it kind of does at the same time. And I know as you get older, I turned 31 very recently, that time dilation is a big ass pain in our sides, where, you know, the summers, the years just disappear like that, versus when we were kids. I remember the summer holidays that I had off from school felt so long. It felt like what I experienced to be a year now, which is very scary because just time is disappearing so fast. But if anything, having that realization has made me more trying to stay more aware of the days and the 24 hours that we have, even though like I spend at least 8 of it sleeping and the rest doing other stuff that's not being productive. And eating, how long does that take? 20 minutes, 30 minutes, depending on what I eat. I feel quite proud of myself this year in a lot of different ways. I think I spoke about this in previous videos, where I suffer from, you know, quite bad anxiety and hypochondria specifically, which might surprise some people who didn't know that, because you would watch this and be like, Adam speaks so confidently in front of the camera. It's like, yeah, I do, but I do suffer from anxiety in general. That's kind of a default negative emotional pattern that I have. But I have felt like through therapy and other means, I've come to a realization that having this negative thing that I wish I didn't have in many instances has kind of led me to having amazing things, and like I'm having it boot me in the ass to do really healthy things for me. Like this year, my fitness and sport has been the best it's maybe ever been since I was training for a marathon and running like every single day when I was 23. And yeah, I've been doing everything from super regular gyms, bouldering every Monday, which is one of the best sports ever. And I can't believe I only just picked it up this year. It's so good, so addictive. I wish I did it when I was so much younger. And yeah, running semi-regularly. I've actually done less running this year than I've ever done. More gym and football and other things. I mean, you run playing football, so I've still been running, but kicking a football around while doing it. And I guess my mindset was looking at research and looking at a lot of, you know, regrets of people who are 40 years old, and seeing people who are around that age and seeing maybe what their body is doing in a negative way because of their aging. And it always a lot of it came down to, you know, they're more stiff, they're not as flexible, they get tired more quickly, things like this. And from what I understand, I just felt that getting my fitness down and, you know, having a really flexible body, really strong body, and just, you know, battling the time the effect of time on my body as a human being was really the right thing to do. It's funny because it seems like people say you have a midlife crisis. I feel like I had a 30-year-old life crisis where I was like, oh my God, I'm 30. I'm not in my 20s anymore. I very clearly remember 10 years ago that I was at film school studying, and then now I'm here in my physical body as a 30-year-old. Oh no, time, decade. And then obviously that passing a lot quicker than what my memory was of being 10 to 20. I feel like focusing more on health and body and trying to understand that if I put effort and focus into this, it's going to serve me so well throughout my 30s, so that when I am 40, I don't feel as much like a 40-year-old. I feel similar to my 30-year-old self. That's the hope. Who knows? Maybe if you're 40, you can be like, yeah, I feel completely different and I exercised every day and it didn't make that much of a difference. But in my head, I feel like it will. And from the science, it should help, fingers crossed. So I'm just going to stick with it because, knowing that I can go to the gym and exercise and keep my body fit, it makes me feel like, okay, my chances of getting ill and something really bad happening to me are way less. So that is motivation enough. It's like, I do this thing, it helps my anxiety, it helps my hypochondria, and it has the side effect of making me feel good, making me feel strong, making me be able to do all the things that I almost all the things that I used to do when I was 20 with ease. And one of the things that I've realized, when you get older, I don't feel that much different than when I was in my mid-20s or early 20s. The only difference with sports specifically is that my recovery time is much longer. So when I was younger, I could play football multiple hours a day and then play football again the next day, or, do some sort of sport and be able to continuously do it. When you're 30, 31, in my case, you just feel it more. You feel it a bit more heavily on your body after you've done some intense sport. But that's really the only difference. Other than that, I feel relatively the same. So yeah, as a little maybe helpful guide to people who watch my channel who are not 30 yet and who are younger. But I imagine if you're older watching this, you're like, oh, wait till you get to 40. Your bones will snap in half with any lift of a weight. Maybe you can write that in the comments if that's the case to pre-warn me. So yeah, that's the fitness side of it. I want to put that to one side. In terms of the more creative thing and what I want this channel to be, I've been experimenting a lot with what I want this channel to become and what I want my videos to be. I feel like I was really lucky to some respect because last year I had my Apple video just pop off and I went to like 100 subs to 4,000 in not a super long amount of time of making videos, and that was a really nice push. But I noticed that a lot of people who saw that Apple video just subscribed to it, but they didn't actually care about the following videos that I made, which was sad because, maybe they thought I was like brown MKBHD or something. And they thought I'm going to be the Apple guy. And then they realized, oh, what's all this filmmaking content? What's all this other stuff that he's putting out? Unsubscribe. So I was I had that big spurt of subs and then it flatlined a lot. And as of recording this video, I've just hit 7K, which is weird because I haven't seen the numeral 7 ever on my channel, and it feels really motivating. And I would say that for YouTube, it's as a creator, as much advice that you can get of people saying, don't care about subscriber count, don't we'll just focus on how many videos you put out. Yeah, all that stuff's useful, but as a creator, it's so hard to not see the shiny sub count and put a lot of meaning on it, which I think is a good and a bad thing because subscribers only matter so much. It's very much a value metric. It's a metric that because if people say, oh, you've got a YouTube channel, they ask you how many subscribers you've got, not how many regular viewers do you have on each video. They don't ask that, but that is actually the true number of your success in a way and how well you're doing, not so much sub count. It's probably a bigger debate about how YouTube can fix this. Could have a conversation about it. But yeah, it's still an interesting pattern to go through of having like that big spurt of success early on, and then just feeling like my channel flatlined a lot from that big peak, and it's just been what I thought would be the slow grind for many years of building up, putting out semi-regular content. I tried to put out one every week, but I've not had a perfect structure of putting out one every week. Like I always get behind, or something else happens with the other YouTube channel that I manage and work for. So yeah, like life just gets in the way of me being super regular. I really hope next year I can solve that. I have a new editor now who's here in Hungary, which is amazing, and a thumbnail designer, Nikolai, who's really amazing. So that helps a lot with feeling like I have two employees, even though they're freelancers, but they feel like like my editor Balent feels like an employee. It feels like someone I can bounce ideas off, and he can suggest stuff to me, like a stupid animation in an edit. So that feels really good, and it brings me perfectly onto my next realization, which is that I feel like for many years of my life, when I was young, I always wanted to find like a fellow collaborator, someone who I can create films with, or I always had this idea of I want to be like part of a creative duo to some degree. Like I would go to film school and I would meet a director, and then we would be like this directing duo, and we would go on to take over the world and make amazing music videos, like director duos like Daniels, who won the Oscar for Everything Everywhere All at Once, and then people like Brother, the amazing music video director duo. I always felt like I wanted that, or would find that, and I did have a really good friend called Andy, who I made a lot of early music videos with. But then he moved to London, I moved back up north, and that separation meant that we weren't working on as much stuff together. And yeah, it just never happened where I found myself in a position where I was so closely connected to another creative, like what I initially wanted, which was sad. Which I thought I would be okay with. And I've had periods of my life where I have had like little inklings of this, like when I moved to Budapest and moved to work with the YouTube channel, The Natural Lifestyles. We had a 2-year period where we had an office and we were all working together, and I'd never had an office job at that point and felt like I didn't want to have one. But there was just something about being around people with a common goal. You all like each other, you hang out a lot. Like there's a bond that you form when you creatively collaborate with people that you just don't. The only time that you create that bond similarly is just in a romantic setting, like with me and Henny. Like that's the closest I've ever got to some of the bonds that I've had creatively previously. Obviously it's also higher because we live together. I see her way more than I saw anyone in an office setting, which is probably might not be said for all creatives. They probably see their co-worker or their business partner way more than they probably see their wife. And in a way, the original reason for me wanting to make this channel was because I wanted to just advertise myself as a filmmaker, like show more behind the scenes and show off my personality, and felt like that would lead people to wanting to work for me. But I think that's very much changed now, where my goal with this channel is to try and create some sort of space, audience of fellow creatives in many different disciplines, where we can feel seen, we can feel acknowledged. Because I think when I was younger, I just felt like I was the only person who wanted to do a creative job. I felt like the only person who would, watch YouTube videos about like filmmakers like Corridor Digital and Freddie W, and filmmaking channels, and being like, oh my God, there's people who are so passionate about this creative discipline like I am. And then I would look around and there would be no one who felt the same. And I feel the same with YouTube in a sense, where, I'm making my videos, but I don't have someone now who is like a fellow creative on the journey, a fellow YouTuber who's up and coming and on the journey. And I did, when I did Ali Abdal's YouTube course, that was kind of the Kickstarter for my whole channel. It was amazing to see that there were so many YouTubers who were doing their thing and people who wanted to do that. And I've since seen a few of them go on to have like a lot of success on the YouTube space, which is amazing to know that they could be in the same position that I am and then be way ahead of where I am right now, which is great. And I just feel like I'm missing something like that, like a creative collaborator or just someone to share in the journey. And I feel like that's in general why I make videos, why I'm making this video like this, to kind of express that. And I guess there's a little part of me that hopes there is someone out here who's on the similar journey watching this, reaches out, please do. But yeah, I also want to find someone locally in the city that I'm in, Budapest, to do this with, to talk to just share ideas, to have someone who is in a way an accountability buddy, where we can just sit down and say, hey, how's your video going? Give each other feedback, meet at a coffee shop and do script writing together. Because I just feel like as long as they're a nice person, like doing things like that actually really bond you in a really strong way and help you, helping each other grow on the journey. And I have friends in Budapest, but we all met through not like mutual friends and stuff. But there's a level of closeness that I feel like you get with a creative collaborator that maybe I just won't get, or haven't got with some of my current friends, perhaps. But it's also effort, right? You have to put in the effort to say, hey, let's go to the gym, let's do this, because reaching out like that is the thing that actually connects you as people. It's really easy for me, especially having a girlfriend long term that you live with. My desire to socialize is way less, and I didn't understand this at first. I remember having friends who had girlfriends, and I was like, oh, when they have a girlfriend, they just disappear, right? They never want to hang out with you. They just stay with their girlfriend. They're like whipped by their girlfriend. Like what's the good whipped? I'm gonna have to censor that, but the idea of that, they get a girlfriend and then they forget about their friendship group. And I never understood this, but the truth is that when they get the girlfriend, their desire to socialize and be social is just less, because they get a lot of that from their partner. They can go for multiple days without desiring friends, versus I feel like if I was single and living in this apartment on my own, I would start to feel lonely after a couple of days and would put way more effort into like organizing, reaching out to friends. Let's say, hey, let's grab a coffee, let's do whatever. I would just put more effort in because I would need it more, and it would feel more like a necessity. And now it is, I still need that, but maybe that can take a week before the desire builds up to, grab a coffee or go to the gym with a friend, versus what would probably be 1 or 2 days if I was single, and just sat here in this apartment on my own, which is exactly what I'm doing right now. I feel lonely already. My analytical brain is still trying to figure out, how do I do this? How do I go about doing this? But I guess like the answer is very simply find YouTubers here, Hungarian YouTubers or expat YouTubers, and just reach out to them, DM them. Maybe I could make like a Facebook group or something to kind of reach out and say, hey, I'm a YouTuber, here's my channel, looking for someone to share in the journey. And then, I might not find the person who becomes that close collaborator on the first instance, but that person who I first meet could know more people in the city who are YouTubers, and that could lead me to them. And I just feel like I overanalyze stuff quite a lot. That's a part of my personality where I need to see the multiple pathways of options, and then based on that I will make the right decision. It's like with gear, right? As I said in the previous video, where I just over research, overlook, and then I'll buy the gear, versus like with this microphone, same thing. I was like, what's the best handheld microphone now? And then I just thought, Adam, you're doing that thing again. Just buy it. If you don't like it, return it. And then I bought it, and I'm using it for this video. And I hope to use it more. So that's really a big change for me next year. I just want to find that creative collaborator, find someone who I can share in this journey with, because it does get lonely. I'll be honest with you. Having an editor and a thumbnail designer helps a lot. For that sense of accountability, but it does get lonely sometimes, not feeling like there is someone else who understands you or understands what you're going through to some degree, feeling like you can share in the growth with someone who is doing the same thing. It can feel sometimes like, what is it all for? And I've posted about this on my Instagram, and I've had like moments where I have really thought, is this worth it? Should I quit? Should I put my time towards something else? And when I do that, I think, what else would I put my time towards? Because truth be told, I never regret when I make a YouTube video. When I've made it, gone through the process, it's out, I never hit that publish button and go, oh, that was a complete waste of time. What the hell? I always feel satisfied about it. And I feel like I just have this, I don't know, there's something inside me where I just have this sense of, I need to just have faith that this will all make sense in the end and it will all amount to something. And I feel like I've really developed that for a long, long time in my life, ever since being young and, you know, being interested in filmmaking and just feeling like I know that this interest is not the typical interest. I barely know anybody, and sometimes didn't know anybody who had the same level of interest in this thing that I had. But there was something inside me that just felt like this will amount to something great one day. And if I stick with it, I keep going, I will find the people who feel the same way as me about it, and I won't feel as alone anymore. in a sad roundabout way of expressing it. And yeah, with filmmaking, I did. I went to uni/film school and met fellow collaborators, and then moved back up north, worked on loads of like commercial projects and stuff. But I did feel that the lifestyle, the way of working was not, maybe, I don't know, like I felt like I could have kept doing that for many, many years, but I just felt like I didn't have the patience to wait a decade of working on sets as a trainee and slowly building myself up to eventually being a 40-year-old DP who was starting out doing commercials just for the money, and then maybe one day I get my big break. And I feel like I've realized that where a lot of things in life are a combination of, you know, look/opportunity meets just hard work, which is true. But I think sometimes there's no amount of hard work that can get you there. And that might sound like a defeatist mentality, because if you really want to be something, if you want to be a musician, for example, if you listen to that mindset of like, oh yeah, you might be lucky and you might never be lucky and that's it. But I think the sad reality is it's kind of true. And I think you reach a point where the path that you were going on just feels like an endless tunnel into potentially nothing, and your motivation will go away. And I know there are amazing stories of artists and creatives who kept at their craft, kept at it, got to, you know, their older age, and then one day just had that breakthrough that they'd been seeking their most of their life. And more power to them. You know, if they really love that thing that much, then, and they keep at it, and then they finally get what they want, that's incredible. And I don't have anything against those people, and suggest that if they gived up, their life would have been better somehow. It probably would have been easier, but they probably wouldn't have been fully satisfied on their deathbed. But I think for me, I realized that I don't think I was prepared to put that patience in. And I feel like a part of me realized that a big section of my desire was wrapped around ego. It was wrapped around, you know, holding that Oscar one day and getting the accolades that would give. And I just, as soon as I kind of realized that, I was able to uncoil the desire and interest from of what I wanted people to feel about my success, and then what I actually wanted my own success to look like without the ego, without the accolades. And yeah, it just, and then the opportunity of being able to move to Budapest and work for another YouTube channel, everything sort of aligned to the place where I'd been surrounded by what it was like to grow a YouTube channel from 44,000 to almost probably 200K by the time you're watching this, to then taking all the knowledge that I'd learned for the past, 4 years, and then putting that into my own channel and me being, being able to use a lot of that. There's many hours of editing other people's YouTube videos, filming other YouTube videos for other people, and then being able to apply that to something that is my own thing. And one of the unexpected side effects of making YouTube videos for the last 2 years was that I just realized how it's unlike, I don't think filmmaking is traditional filmmaking is not so fair in a way. And it actually didn't scratch the itch creatively as much as I thought it would, because YouTube is something that is incredible because you technically don't need anything. Like you can, I have lights here and a microphone and whatever, but you don't need this. And that's what I love about it. It's so democratic because as long as you have an iPhone now, you can shoot with natural window light. You can even use a phone like this as your microphone, and you can make a video every day if you want. Probably won't, it might not be that good if it's every day. Maybe you can make a banger every day, but it just relies on you putting in the action, you working on your personality, and maybe you already have an amazing personality that you can just talk and people find you particularly and like they just feel attracted to you in a way. Not sexually. Your personality being like, they want to just hear what you have to say. They like watching your style and videos. And I like that you can just, it's all on you in a way. There's nothing that actually stops you from doing that. Versus filmmaking, like if I wanted to make a music video, maybe I'd make a music video once every 2-3 months. It takes so many pieces to come together. You need to find a band who want to be shot. And if you don't, like say if you do a spec music video, you still need the idea, you still need to plan it, which is same as YouTube. But then unless your idea is very specific, where it can be done with just you and your camera, like most stuff, good stuff requires a crew, it requires some form of team, it requires asking for favors, it requires a lot more planning than 1 week, 2 weeks to make something that is really, really good. Usually, there's definitely been stuff that was shot very quickly that is probably amazing, but in general, you need to have more time of planning. Versus a YouTube video, you can make a really decent YouTube video in a few days, even a day if you script it, depending on the idea. And once your channel grows and people, connect with you as a person, they could go back and watch that video that you made a year, 2 years ago and get value from it. And I think that is the unexpected positive consequence of making YouTube videos, is that I get to flex that creative muscle, feel the output of my time very quickly versus having to wait 3 months for the output of that project that I was working on. There's so much that I've learned making YouTube videos, making over 50, that I wish I knew earlier. And yeah, I've even considered making some sort of like online consultation thing where I can coach people to help up-and-coming YouTubers who want kind of to start their own channel, because the stuff that I didn't even learn from the YouTube course that I did, that I had to figure out myself, that I wish I could have told myself back then. So, but I feel like I will only want to do that, when I hit 10K, because 10K subscribers, because then I actually have, some proof to show people like, hey, I really mean this. I have 10K. But yeah, we'll see. It's probably imposter syndrome in a way that I could probably do it now and help very beginner YouTubers. But yeah, it's just an idea that I've been playing around with and will probably do in the future. Maybe let me know in the comments if that even sounds interesting or if that sounds like a terrible idea. I think I'm going to wrap it up here. If you're still watching at this point, like half an hour-ish in, thank you so much, because the fact that anybody else on the internet would even like care to listen to what I have to say is pretty mind-blowing to me. And I really appreciate giving up time to hear what I have to say or entertain it, and hopefully I've helped in some way, or maybe kind of given you some food for thought about how you can apply some of the learnings that I had this year into your own life. But yeah, I think if you're just a fellow creative in particular, I want to like reach out to you specifically, because if you've already found that crew that you have of people like you, amazing, like nurture those friendships and don't stop looking for new ones, because you never know when those people will realize that this thing isn't for them and they go off and do their own thing. But and if you're someone who hasn't found any other people like you, I've been doing this recreationally since I was 18, and then studied it for 3 years, studied filmmaking, cinematography, and then I've been freelancing since 2014, and I'm still making a video like this where I'm being vulnerable and saying, hey, I don't really have a lot of people who are sharing in this creative journey, this YouTube journey, and I'm calling out to putting it out into the world that I want to start looking for them more next year. I'm gonna find them next year. That's like positive thinking, positive affirmation. I'm gonna find them, not I might, I'm gonna. So yeah, like I think a lot of us don't know. A lot of us creatives, we are figuring it out as we all go along, and some people get there earlier than others. I know I sometimes am on Instagram and see people who are a lot younger than me, have had more success in particular creative fields, and I think, where did I go wrong? Could have been 21 and already had the success and all these things. But Honestly, like, some people get there earlier because of luck and it just happens to happen. Some people don't. It takes longer, but I don't think it matters. I don't think it matters. What matters more is that you actually are enjoying what you're doing. You stick with it. You don't give up. If you realize that there's barriers to, doing what you need to do, maybe you need to kind of find a different path that makes sense with your particular lifestyle and life situation. That might be slower, like that might appear slower initially, but actually will take you round the people who you thought you wanted to be like much quicker than you could have imagined those like, a few years back. So yeah, I just think we all have to have a bit of faith that it's all going to make sense in the end, as Steve Jobs famously said. You can't connect the dots looking forward, you can only connect them looking back. And I feel like every single year I start to find more dots that I'm able to connect, and I just hope that continues year to year, and everything just makes sense. And one day I'll be, I don't know, in my mansion. I don't really care about mansion, just a nice house somewhere in a nice place, and I'm sipping on my coffee at whatever age, and I just feel really proud of myself that I didn't give up in times where I could have easily given up. I pushed through fear, pushed through anxiety, pushed through these things that I have to just deal with to reach out to that person, to make that video whenever I felt like anxiety about doing it or my energy was low. And then also knowing that I didn't just burn out, I actually had put time aside to spend with my significant others and like relaxed and enjoyed what life has to offer. Like I'm planning to go to Japan next year on holiday, and ever since I was 7 years old, I can remember being like, one day I want to go to Japan, and I'm finally able to have some funds aside to make it happen, and just being so grateful that I have the opportunity to do that. Some people don't. Some people aren't here. Some people just, unfortunately, something happens to them and means that they can't be in a situation like that. And I'm just so lucky that I'm healthy, I'm happy, and I can really take advantage of what life has to offer. And I hope that, when I'm double my age at 60, I don't have big regrets because I let these, the fear, anxiety, and other things get in the way of what I knew was actually right to do in the moment. And yeah, I just feel thankful that I can even talk in front of a camera like this, and that I've built up that skill over many videos, many hours. Like there's videos that you guys have never seen because I've made them years ago and they're now private on my channel. So this isn't even the outward appearance of how much I've actually spent learning this skill is not what it seems, is actually not what it really is. Because there's many videos that I put practice into learning this skill, and I'm still working on it. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I'm definitely better than I was a year ago, and definitely better than 2 years ago. So yeah, I'm just going to keep at it. And this Christmas, when I'm heading back to the UK, I'm just going to try and chill. Hence why I'm filming this a little bit earlier. I'm not filming it on the damn hill in my hometown, editing it in like a few hours and then getting it up on New Year's Eve. I literally remember there's one year I made a few thoughts video on my hometown on the hill, and I think I was editing it until 11:30 p.m. on New Year's Eve. Edited it, quickly ran over to my brother's house, and then celebrated New Year. Like that's the dumb. Like I do look back fondly at that kind of work ethic, about how naive I was, thinking that like that was the thing that was more important. Like I had to go home and film it on the hill in the freezing cold. Like then the video doesn't make sense because I'm going back to my hometown and filming it on the hill every year, and then that's the symbolism. It's like it doesn't matter. It's much nicer being here in this warm, cozy apartment, talking about the same types of things, but not on my hometown hill in the freezing cold in December. Oh man! All right. I'm actually going to leave it there this time. I'm not bullshitting you. Thank you so much for watching. Anybody who's watched even one of my videos this year. Next year, I'm keeping at it, continuing to make creative content, filmmakery content, and yeah, experimenting along the way of different types of videos that I can make for people of all interests within creative disciplines specifically. So yeah, looking forward to it. This year's been great. A lot of learnings. My videos have gotten better. and life's just gotten better in general. So I just hope I can keep it up. I will keep it up. Come on, keep it up, Adam. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you want. Don't have to. And I'll see you in 2024. And until then, have an amazing Christmas if you celebrate Christmas. Amazing New Year. And let's smash 2024 and achieve all the things that we want to achieve, or at least take steps towards them to get the ball moving with making them happen. All right. Enough talking, more chilling. See you guys next year. Bye-bye. Whoa, I did it. Oh my God, my legs. Oh, this cable. It's actually really cool using a microphone like this to do a video like this. I weirdly feel like I'm some sort of game show host. And question 1 is Roger Deakins or Emmanuel Lebetique? Oh, I forgot his name. Chivo, that's his nickname. Which one? $100 to whoever chooses the right answer. It's a cinematography joke, so if you're not a cinematographer, then sorry, you might not get it. Cinematographers, explain in the comments. All right, bye. I'm going. See ya. Bye. For real this time.